also note that we did receive testimony or comment from the governor, also encouraging us to consider the strategic plan. I think as the executive director laid out, I think it's better to, for us to have some time to digest the proposed strategic plan, think about it in its draft form. My initial review is that it looks pretty substantive, and it's stuff that I would imagine, that it's where the rules, where we wanted the rules to go. So I think it's a good framework. But let's take some time to digest it, and we can arrange to have it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yes.
We'll take some decision at that time. Any other comments? Because I'd like to open it up for public testimony. Randall, do you have any public testimony for anyone who signed up on agenda item 5?
We do, but before, if you come in late and you want to sign in and let us know you're here, the sign-in sheet is here. If you want to sign up to testify, please come and see me. First person for item 5 is Mr. Kiko.
Chair, board members, my name is Kika Kapowski. I'm with the Hawaii Building and Construction Trades Council. Just for your information, the council is comprised of approximately 13 out of 17 construction trade unions throughout Hawaii. Significant amount of our membership are beneficiaries of OHA. Not to point them out specifically, but a lot of concern and opposition has come from them. So we've tried to take the time to speak with some of the opponents that have cultural expertise, as well as representatives from OHA. We wanted to really look at this issue from all sides. Our membership, our council is very sensitive. Although we are a construction based organization, and our members rely on construction for their living, we also are very sensitive to the cultural aspects and the potential abuses and misuse that something like this may have. So we don't want to take this lightly, and we take it very, very serious. With that said, we do respect some of the comments that were made in previous hearings and in previous meetings here at the PLDC, and we've been in most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And although we do respect the comments made by opponents, as a council, we have formally supported the PLDC and its intent, and we look forward to continuing to work with the administration, with Mr. Haraguchi, with this board, with other stakeholders, including the environmentalists and other Hawaiian groups, to try to come to some kind of common ground, and to ensure that the intent of the PLDC is met while being sensitive and preserving cultural and our natural resources at the same time. I do want to make a comment regarding the strategic plan that was just mentioned. And I guess when you start pinpointing and getting to specific statutes, it kind of opens up a can of worms. So I'm going to throw one more worm into the can. We are concerned, we're appreciative of including Chapter 104 into the strategic plan. We would also ask that you consider the inclusion of HRS 444 and 386. Our understanding is, our interpretation of the statute is that these statutes, as well as many others, are not exempt from this PLDC, but for the record, we would like to express our if you would consider including 444 and 386 in further discussions. Also, I haven't heard, and maybe I was absent at that particular meeting, but discussion regarding the Hawaii optimization plan that was outlined in the statute 171C-5. I'm not sure if that has been brought up for discussions or where it is on the timetable, but that may be an area, if it, that could help address some of the concerns that are out there. I think a lot of the concerns are just because a lot of this is unknown. So the more that becomes known, I think a lot of the concerns may start to be addressed.
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question. What is 444 in 386? Just in general.
444 is contractor licensing, and 386 is workers' compensation. We are watching, very interested in the exemptions from construction standards as they relate to development of lands. We have been in discussions with your administration. We've been really pleased with the open dialogue today, and we look forward to continued dialogue. We just want to make sure that whatever is developed is safe and does what it's intended to do. And is a good investment by the people of Hawaii.
Any other questions? No? Thank you very much.
Aloha, I'm Henry Curtis, Executive Director of Life of Land. This is perhaps my first meeting in this room where we have microphones and you don't. So I'd like to suggest that, like DLNR, like the Board of Land Natural Resources, that we get each of you a microphone for the next meeting. Second, I'm a little bit puzzled about the strategic plan. I mean, some of it seems to make sense, but some of it appears to contradict the state law that established your entity, and some of it appears to conflict with the rules that you're currently in the process of adopting. So the question is, would you adopt rules that violate the strategic plan, or would you incorporate this strategic plan into the rules, and if so, are you going to bring the rules back out, or what? That's confusing to me, and I know it's confusing to you because I heard the executive director say there were 4 or 5 or 6 opportunities for public participation, and he listed 4 of them. So obviously this is something new to you also, and therefore incorporating it into the rules and bring the rules out makes a lot of sense. I did have one other point, which I went to this chart, which your 4x4. And they said, I think goal 3, objective 2, is to include community stakeholder groups determined by the title agency. So that means you would consult with people if the agency you were dealing with came up with that name in the first place. Again, these are sort of, they can be read in many different ways, and it would be important to clarify what they mean before mishing it all together with the rules. Thank you.
Questions, members?
You would prefer to include community stakeholder groups?
I would prefer it to actually be in a language clear enough that everybody reading it would come to the same interpretation, which I'm not sure they would do now.
My name is Dave Arakawa. I'm the Executive Director of Land Use Research Foundation, and I'm here to testify in support of the draft strategic plan and in support of the recommendation by the Executive Director and the Chair to further look at this matter. It's a good framework, it's a good start, but I think the public and the stakeholders and you yourself and the PLDC staff should have time to take a further look at this, but it's a good start. We'd note that the idea and the organization is somewhat similar to the other state agencies that have been developed that have certain exemptions. Department of Hawaiian Homelands, HHFDC has their 2-1-H affordable housing programs, and HCDA also has certain exemptions. This draft strategic plan looks like it provides for certain important clarifications, the application of the EIS law, Chapter 343, Chapter 6E, Chapter 92, Chapter 104, HRS 171. So it's a good thing to clarify that. We would, in the process of review, we would also look to clarifying the bullet point, guideline bullet point relating to IAL. We think that the PLDC should be able to become involved in projects that are consistent with the IAL law, not just prohibit those projects, but should a project come before you folks that is consistent with the IAL law, I think folks should have the flexibility to approve that type of project if it's consistent with the law. The other thing is at the bottom of the vision, and it appears several times in here, it only refers to small businesses when the legislation itself refers broadly to businesses, or I guess the term public-private partnership is the concept. So it's not limited to only small business. You'd have to define what a small business is. But we appreciate the fact and we support the fact that the strategic plan wants to work with local small businesses. That's very important. And with respect to the hearings process, that's very good. You know, the chart shows several opportunities for public input. We would recommending a hearing process similar to those established already by DLNR. You got the CDUA, you have DCIS, and the Land Use Commission. So there are already hearing processes in place that the state uses to handle land transactions. So the more similar it is to that, then we feel the more consistent it will be. And lastly, we're willing to work together with all of the parties to further this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Questions? A question.
Yes.
You know this flow chart here? How similar is this to anything in DLNR?
You know, my understanding from working with DLNR and several permits is the staff prepares a report, there's a review, staff prepares a report, and it's put on the agenda for board approval. We do think that this is an interesting process, and we do think that there should be a hearing by the title holding agency or the applicable agency. If it's an agricultural project, perhaps the Department of Agriculture should have a hearing in addition to another separate hearing by PLDC. So we like that concept. Whether there has to be 2 hearings, we're not sure about that. Because right now, the land disposition and processes for DLNR and for a lot of agencies, you put it on the agenda, there's a staff report, you have a hearing. The hearing might last 2 days, might last 1 day, might last 3 days. But that's what it is, because we don't really see the need to have the 2 hearings. But that's totally up to you folks.
Well, I guess as I'm understanding this flow chart, the one box here, which is like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th box, so the box second row farthest on the left.
Yes.
My understanding is that is the meeting, not a PLDC meeting, it's that other agencies meeting decision on whether or not to turn over that property to PLDC.
Correct.
Right? So PLDC doesn't even get to make a decision or even consider it until whatever agency is willing to turn over property, right?
Correct.
So
that is important. That's an important.
Right. So that's a given.
Yes.
So that's a given in the statute.
Yes.
Right? So are you thinking that it would contemplate that to approve a project, like assuming that an agency turns over that property to PLDC, are you contemplating that that project approval would require PLDC and the originating agency's approval as well?
That's what I thought this looked like. So I thought boxes 7 and 8 could be combined, for instance. 7 and 8 combined, because it's important for the title holding agency or whatever the subject matter agency, whether it's DOE or whoever it is, right, to have a hearing on it. So I thought boxes 7 and 8 could be combined, and 9, and boxes 10 and 11 in the middle of the 3rd row.
Yeah.
Could be combined. That's more like the DLNR procedure where you have a hearing. It could last for a day, it could last for 2 days, it could last for however long. But that's what, and the state land use commissions like that also. Okay. So that's where we're coming from. But we do like the concept of the title agency or the the subject matter agency having the first shot to review it and make a recommendation to PLDC. That's fair and reasonable.